hotel charges for mandatory quarantine to be imposed on all arrivals. Work from home order still applies. Good evening, you're watching News on 2 with me, Renee Fong. The National Security Council has decided to impose a 50% charge in the next batch of individuals quarantined in hotels after coming back from overseas. Senior Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this charge will be imposed beginning 1st June.
Bagi warga negara Malaysia yang pulang ke negara dan dikuarantin wajib, mereka diminta untuk membayar sebanyak 50% daripada kadar penuh bayaran hotel, iaitu separuh daripada RM150 yang dikenakan. Sebahagian ditanggung oleh kerajaan. Separuh ditanggung oleh individu yang dikuarantin, separuh akan ditanggung oleh kerajaan. Walaupun bagi bukan warga negara Malaysia, termasuklah pemas tautin tetap dan lain-lain, mereka akan dikenakan caj hotel sepenuhnya.
Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said all individuals who wish to enter Malaysia will be required to sign a letter of undertaking agreeing to bear the quarantine costs before entering the country. The signing of the letter can be done at Malaysian embassies and high commissions. The senior minister said after the agreement is signed, the office will also issue a letter permitting them to return to Malaysia. He added that the Immigration Department will be issuing a directive to all airline companies to make it compulsory for passengers disembarking in Malaysia to have the letter. On another note, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the work from home order still applies under the Conditional Movement Control Order, CMCO. Citing civil workforce as an example, he said that until today, about 20% civil servants are still working from home. The senior minister explained that this is because they need to take care of their children while schools and daycare centres are still shut.
Yang belajar di Tasdian, belajar di Tabika ataupun sekolah, malah anak kecil yang terpaksa dihantar ke Taska tetapi setakat ini belum dibuka. Jadi mereka masih boleh bekerja di rumah. Jadi daripada keseluruhannya, 20% masih lagi bekerja daripada rumah dan arahan bekerja di rumah itu masih lagi kekal sehingga hari ini.
Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Ismail also confirms that the government has allowed for the filming industry to resume its operation under strict guidelines after Hari Raya celebrations. He said the filmmakers will be allowed to shoot films, dramas and advertisements.
Antara SOP yang perlu dipatuhi adalah melakukan mesyuarat dan uji bakat secara dalam talian. Yang keduanya, mengemukakan rekod perjalanan semua tenaga produksi dan artis bagi tempoh 4 minggu sebelum penggambaran dan memastikan tidak lebih daripada 20 orang terlibat di dalam setiap sesi penggambaran.
The senior minister added that makeup artists are required to wear face shields and regularly wash their hands before and after doing the makeup process. Other than that, the production companies must prepare individually packed food as buffet lines are not allowed. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said production companies must also appoint a safety supervisor to ensure the strict SOP are followed during the shooting process. He also added that for now, live stage production that involved a huge crowd is still not allowed. The Malaysian Film Directors Association FDAM welcomes the government's decision to allow the industry players to continue with their production work after Aidilfitri. Its president, Dr. Ahmad Ibrahim, said although their appeal to be allowed to continue with their work before the Aidilfitri was not met, the decision to allow them to do so after the festival was a relief, especially the production crew whose income was affected following enforcement of the Movement Control Order MCO since 2 months ago. In a statement today, he said FDAM will ensure compliance with the Standard Operating Procedure SOP. The good news was announced by Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah yesterday during the Harith Iskandar Stay Home live Facebook episode entitled The Future of Live Entertainment Post Conditional Movement Control Order CMCO. According to FDAM data, there are about 875 film and television activists, including 35 FDAM members from 35 production companies who have lost their source of income following enforcement of the MCO on 18th March. Malaysia has recorded another 31 new positive COVID-19 cases, bringing its total to 7,009. In his daily COVID-19 briefing today, Health Director General Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said there have also been 60 recoveries and 0 death case reported in the last 24 hours. Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham noted that the total number of patients who have made a full recovery from COVID-19 now stands at 5,706 or 81.4% of the total number of cases.
Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia ingin memaklumkan bahawa terdapat 60 kes yang telah pulih dan dibenarkan discharge pada hari ini. Ini menjadikan jumlah kumulatif kes yang telah pulih sepenuhnya daripada jangkitan COVID-19 dan telah dibenarkan discharge daripada ward adalah sebanyak 5,706 kes, iaitu bersamaan dengan 81.4% daripada jumlah keseluruhan kes. Dimaklumkan bahawa tiada kes kematian berkaitan COVID-19 setakat ini. Justru jumlah kumulatif kes kematian COVID-19 di Malaysia kekal sebanyak 114 kes, iaitu bersamaan dengan 1.63% daripada jumlah keseluruhan kes.
Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham also said that of the new cases detected today, there were 10 imported cases and 21 local transmissions. He added that as of now, there are 1,189 active cases, where 11 cases are being treated in the intensive care unit ICU. From that number, 7 cases require the use of ventilators. The Kuala Lumpur High Court has set 15 days beginning 15th June to resume the trial of former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak and One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB former Chief Executive Officer Arul Kandasamy on alleged tampering with the 1MDB final audit report. Judge Muhammad Zaini Mazlan fixed the dates 15th to 18th June, 27th to 30th July, 10th to 13th August and 24th to 26th August when the case came up for mention. He also reminded the prosecution conducted by Deputy Public Prosecutors Rosaliana Zakaria and Nadia Zulkifli to prepare the witness statements at least 1 week prior to the trial. When asked on the number of witnesses to be called by the prosecution, Rosaliana said the defence had yet to cross-examine 5 witnesses, while there are 20 more witnesses yet to be called to testify. Counsel Nur Shahira Hanapia is representing Datuk Seri Najib, while Arul Kanda is represented by Counsel, Dato' N. Sivanathan. So far, 7 prosecution witnesses have testified, including former Auditor General Tan Sri Amrin Buang and former Chief Secretary to the Government Tan Sri Dr. Ali Hamzah. Dato' Sri Najib, 67, is charged with using his position to order amendments to the 1MDB final audit report before it was presented to the Public Accounts Committee to avoid any action being taken against him, while Arul Kanda is charged with abetting Dato' Sri Najib in making the amendments to the report to protect him from being subjected to action. Both of them were charged under Section 23, subsection 1 of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Act 2009, which provides a jail term of up to 20 years and a fine of no less than 5 times the amount of gratification or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher upon conviction. A shop owner suffered a fractured nose and cracked jaw after being robbed by his new assistant at his shop in Langkawi Mall yesterday evening. Langkawi District Police Chief Superintendent Muhammad Iqbal Ibrahim said the robbery occurred at about 7 p.m. when Ku Tieng Su, 55, was closing his clothing and leather shop. Earlier at about 10 a.m., the suspect, known only as Meng, was said to have come to the shop looking for a job as a shop assistant. The victim hired him immediately and allowed him to work without his personal details being properly recorded. Muhammad Iqbal, in a statement today, said when the victim was closing the shop in the evening, the suspect, who was wearing a face mask throughout his working hours, robbed the victim, punched him in the face and fled the scene. Losses were estimated at 5,000 ringgit. He said police were requesting the public's assistance to track down the suspect. The suspect is said to be thin with fair skin, about 170 centimeter tall, has sunken face and in his 40s. The case is being investigated under Section 394 of the Penal Code for voluntarily causing hurt in committing robbery. The General Operations Force GOF have arrested 2 men, one a Myanmar national, and seized contraband items worth almost 280,000 ringgit in 2 separate raids in Pasir Gudang and Muar. GOF 5th Battalion Commanding Officer Superintendent Dimin Awang said the arrests were the result of 2 raids conducted yesterday. In a statement, Superintendent Dimin said the first raid was done at a house in Pasir Gudang at around 1:40 p.m. in which a 34-year-old male Myanmar national was arrested after they found some 480 bottles and 336 cans of alcohol suspected to have been smuggled. He added that the total amount of alcohol seized was estimated to be worth 23,774 ringgit. Superintendent Dimin said in the second case, a raid was carried out at a house near Taman Ria Permai in Muar. He said a 25-year-old local man was arrested after they found some 1,075 cartons of illicit cigarettes at the scene, estimated to be worth around 252,747 ringgit. Both suspects have been handed over to the police for further action, while the cases have been classified under Section 135, subsection 1 of the Customs Act 1967. The Kedah State Government today announced its 10-member State Executive Council. The EXCO lineup consists of 4 assemblymen from PAS, 3 from Bersatu, 1 from UMNO and 2 independent assemblymen. They were sworn in before the Sultan of Kedah, Al-Aminul Karim Sultan Salehuddin Ibni Almarhum Sultan Badli Shah at Wisma Darul Aman this morning. Menteri Besar Muhammad Sanusi Mat Noor will chair the committees for economic planning, town planning, land matters, earth and natural resources, finance, the Kedah Economic Council and State Government-linked Companies Committee. Several assemblymen from the Pakatan Harapan State Government were reinstated as the State EXCO members, including Lunas Assemblyman Azman Nasruddin, Bukit Kayu Hitam Assemblyman Halimatan Shada and Kuah Assemblyman Firdaus Ahmad. Other assemblymen included Datuk Dr. Ku Rahman Ku Ismail, Datuk Suraya Yaakob, Datuk Siti Aisyah Ghazali, Datuk Najmi Ahmad, Datuk Muhammad Hayati Othman, Robert Ling Koi A and Wan Romani Wan Salim. The new EXCO lineup was announced following the change of state government and appointment of Muhammad Sanusi as Menteri Besar. Melaka UMNO Liaison Committee Deputy Chairman Datuk Sri Muhammad Ali Muhammad and television personality Ras Adiba Radzi were sworn in as senators at Dewan Negara today before the Senate President Tan Sri Sir Vigneswaran. Both of them were appointed for the first time for a period of 3 years. Datuk Seri Muhammad Ali, 56, whose appointment took effect on 11th May, will be representing Melaka in the Senate, while Ras Adiba, 51, who is also the president of OKU Central and whose appointment took effect today, will be representing the Persons with Disabilities OKU. Speaking to media after the ceremony, Datuk Seri Muhammad Ali said he would definitely bring up the issues of the people, especially the welfare and education of those in rural areas during the Senate sittings.
Sedikit sebanyak pengalaman sebagai seorang pendidik dan sebagai seorang ahli perniagaan dapat saya satukan, dan akhirnya bagaimana saya boleh mengolah untuk melihat perjuangan yang boleh saya bawa untuk membela nasib terutamanya guru-guru dalam pendidikan, dan juga melihat supaya peluang-peluang boleh diberikan secara sama kepada rakyat dari sudut perniagaan di negara kita.
Meanwhile, the veteran newscaster and national Paralympic athlete Ras Adiba said among the issues that she would raise were education, employment and infrastructure for the OKU in the country.
Dalam kepala saya ni dah apa orang kata tak sabar-sabar nak go down dan work on apa orang kata seperti Akta OKU untuk memperhalusi cara-cara bagaimana kita boleh sama-sama membantu apa orang kata memberikan rights base kepada OKU, inclusivity kepada OKU di negara kita.
At the swearing-in ceremony, the Senate President also announced the appointment of Muhammad Sujari Abdullah, 43, as the new Senate Secretary effective 22nd February. AirAsia guests with bookings for flights departing between 23rd March and 31st July can now choose to have a credit account with a 2-year validity period or unlimited flight changes for flights departing up to 31st October 2020. AirAsia Berhad said the validity of credit accounts previously issued for COVID-19 related flight disruptions will also be automatically extended up to 2 years for future travels. In a statement today, it said guests may choose between two options. The first option allows them to change their flight date for the same route unlimited number of times without incurring any additional cost before 31st October 2020, subject to seat availability. Those who choose the credit account option will be able to retain the value of the flight booking in their AirAsia Big Member account for future travel with AirAsia to be redeemed within 2 years from the issuance date. It said that in the next few weeks, the validity period of all unused credit accounts issued to guests affected by COVID-19 travel restrictions will also be automatically extended to 2 years. AirAsia said the airline is complying with advice and regulations from local governments, civil aviation authorities, global and local health agencies, including the World Health Organization. It is also closely monitoring the situation and reserves the right to announce further policies according to the latest developments. B40 households and people with disabilities who have not received the free My Preview decoders are encouraged to register their interest from now until this coming 31st May. Registration received after the end date will not be processed. Coming up in the foreign front, super cyclone to slam India, Bangladesh. And that concludes this evening's News on 2. In our top story, hotel charges for mandatory quarantine to be imposed on all arrivals. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for more updates. I'm Renee Fong. Stay tuned to TV2 and have a pleasant evening.